first time in a long time, but it seems like just yesterday when we were side by side. Beast mode, no one's blocking our way. These other guys tried it, but them man ain't got the skills of Braden and Davie, brazen and raging, bringing you the thrills and spills. Right here in full gear, about to blow up like TNT. Us man are too sweet, Brady, DVP, the BDElite. Right here in full gear, about to blow up like TNT. Us man are too sweet, Brady, DVP, the BDElite.
Hello.
Hello.
Braden Herrington here with Davie Portman for BDElite. Every Wednesday night, we talk about AEW Dynamite because Braden and Davie, well, we are your friends and we are live, Mr. Davie Portman.
Yes, live on twitch.tv/upNXT podcast. Hello, Twitch Room.
Hello, Twitch Room. Yes, every Tuesday we'll be your NXT friends. Till the death. But Dynamite's on Wednesday night, and shout out all the people listening via podcast. Hello, welcome to the show. What's going on? It's a crazy 24 hours of wrestling.
Oh boy.
Nothing.
Yeah.
It's wrestling. Nothing. You blink and you miss it, man. I mean, first of all, we don't talk about Kendrick. No. We can't talk about Kendrick.
Wow, yeah, what a month that guy's had from being thrown down the stairs by a woke guy. Rightfully so, maybe.
Yeah, really. Who knew that he was the heel in that situation?
To requesting his release, to being released, to being put in a kind of big match on Dynamite tonight within 24 hours, and then quite awful kind of opinions and stuff coming out from, I believe, 2013, sort of rearing its head, and Tony Khan taking action to pull him from tonight's show. Pretty wild. I mean, I wonder if there's part of him kind of kicking himself for requesting his release, but.
Yeah, it's weird. I was super hyped for that match. I had no idea about all this stuff in his past or things that he has said. He's now tweeted since and said that those aren't actually his belief, but he knows it looks this way or something like that. So maybe there'll be more to come out of this. But I was looking forward to that match tonight because, wow, I have been a fan of him for quite a long time. But it's interesting how things pop up as soon as there's relevancy to people, and not just in wrestling, but and other things. I'm not saying whatever he said was wrong or anything. It's just what are the coincidences that this stuff gets popping off right now, that it gets the attention of TK to change the match. But rightfully so. Hey, what I read from the comments, I was like, man, that was pretty messed up. So he's now saying, hey, I'm not that person. So hope maybe more to come on that. But just weird, just so weird, because we went from, hey, that sounds pretty cool, to being like, oh no, let's not do that. So very strange.
With all these things, you hope firstly that he means what he says when he says he doesn't mean these things, but there's a redemption process, it would be stupid to put him on TV tonight 100%. It's time to start making amends, and not to say we'll never see this guy again, but there's a lot of making up you got to do,
100%. Yeah. I was excited to see that match, and then it got pulled, rightfully so. But I hopefully he can make these amends or changes or whatever, because whatever he said was pretty messed up. So that was something that we didn't really get to see on Dynamite, but don't worry, there was lots of other stuff to talk about, including stuff that made Brian Kendrick an afterthought. Once you introduce a little shot of Brandi into things, right? So don't worry, no one.
You know what?
You're fine.
Last night I was pretty grumpy after 2.0, and honestly, for a good portion of this show, I felt like, am I just watching hour 3 from last night? But luckily, The final sort of 40 minutes of this show was fucking killer. So put me in a
Yeah.
good mood for this show. But yeah, it was hard to get through the beginning of tonight's Dynamite, to be honest.
Yeah, we'll jump into that for sure. But besides that, how are you doing now that you've as some listeners have said, abandoned us? You've left
No, never.
the six to the places of double-decker buses. And have you seen any of those soldiers that don't like move or say anything? See those guys?
I've not gone to see Liz yet. So no, I've
Right.
been to.
No,
I
Andrew?
haven't gone into central London too much. I've been to on my first day when I kind of was pounding the streets looking for jobs. I went to like Leicester Square, Soho, that area where all the theatres are. It's but I haven't been to like the River or the Palace or any of that yet. But I did get a second job offer today, so that was cool. So,
hey, that's all right.
yeah, it sounds pretty cool. So I've got this one job I'm starting tomorrow. I'm working at a pub pretty near to me. It's kind of cool. It's a little divey. I used to go there when I was like a student, like in my early 20s. They do live bands, live DJs. It's 2-floor pub, so that should be pretty fun. I'm starting there tomorrow. And then
Wow, you start like literally during the day? Because right now, I mean,
I start tomorrow night, so it's actually
okay.
I've been struggling today because yesterday was my first sort of day doing this crazy schedule, starting these shows at 3 a.m. But I should be adjusting now because obviously this is night 2 of doing these podcasts late, and then tomorrow I'm working and the bar closes at 2 a.m. So I'll be getting out around 3, be getting home around 4. So I'll be on a similar schedule tomorrow. So I'm working there tomorrow night and Saturday night. And then next week I start at this kind of brand new golf club sort of place. It's kind of like, have you heard of Top Golf, where there's like the driving ranges and it's like kind of party golf sort of stuff.
I'm sure there's similar things here,
there's
like
Top
mini
Golf
golf
in Canada. It's like driving range, but there's something over here, a kind of similar sort of place, and it's only 3 months old and a really fancy, nice new bar. So I'm going to be the bartender there. So
all right,
filling up my week with work. So hopefully I can get a bit out of this pandemic-shaped hole in my bank account pretty soon.
Yeah.
But yeah, so feeling pretty positive. I've been here. It's been a week today since I arrived. So feel good, sort of settling in. They know that I'll be leaving them in a few months to go back. But yeah, it seems like there's quite a bit of craziness going on in Ontario right now. So I think I kind of made the right choice to sort of come over here when I did.
Yeah. There was some craziness going on in Ottawa, and now they're saying it's gonna maybe take over Toronto, coming up with this like truck convoy and people against COVID, and there's vaccinations and unvaccinations and all. I'm just so over like COVID. Like I have no time to, if that's what you're protesting about, like, nah, I appreciate any side of the coin there, but like, I know COVID's still a thing, but y'all need to move on. Go out, go for a walk, go hang out with people. Don't go hang out with people with flags that are very inappropriate. That's my stance on it.
Yeah,
so over it.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's often, protest for stuff by all means, but it's when it like it's hate disguised with all these reasons. You know, it's like are you really fighting for the thing you're saying you're fighting for? Because why the fuck are there Nazi flags? You know.
That's the thing. Like again, disgusting. I see all sorts of different views, and I understand every sort of view. But once you bring in people with those kinds of flags and stuff, then that's when I definitely am like, well, if you're roping yourself in with that group of people, maybe you're not on the right side. But that's here nor there really. But yeah, it hasn't affected me. We're kind of a little bit of away from where that's supposed to take place, because we meet with the BDE Towers in Toronto, but we're like we're right near the CN Tower, so we're kind of away from that actually, because they're going to be going to like the government Queen's Park or whatever here in Toronto. So like that's all right, but I'll be working all this week as well, so I won't really be seeing any of the craziness. Hopefully, I just don't care. Like, yo, if you got time off, why are you spending it doing this? It's freezing. It's literally snowing right now. What do you? Why would you do that? Why would you go outside? Like, I get it, fight for your right, but there's a lot of other rights that needed to be fought for in the past few years, and I feel 100%. Like right now isn't the right ones. But welcome to our TED Talk. You thought you got a Dynamite review? Boom, here we are, dropping knowledge. Don't take us off Spotify, please don't. So you're doing all right there. Yeah, for anyone, we get some people in the Twitch chat right now. They're saying, wait, did Davie leave? He left Canada? No, he's just on a little excursion. Yeah, this young boy is on excursion to London, and he's gonna come back though. So you're gonna come back, and we'll have a ripping summer.
I'll be back.
We have some things.
Braden, yeah. I've been swiping right over here, and dude, I gotta go back. No offense to British girls, but some offense to British girls. They ain't doing it for me over here, Braden.
Wow. Shots fired at. Do they have bangs? Is that why?
I don't like bangs. Yeah, that is true. No, just I don't know. I prefer my Canadian girls, I guess.
Yeah. You're unlike AEW. You are very diverse. As some would say.
I am pretty diverse. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I will. We'll have you back soon. I mean, hey, if anyone's wondering, wow, these guys are grinding hard. One guy's not even there anymore, but we do it via Zoom. It's fun time. We still are going to do these every Tuesday. We record Up Next on Tuesday night, and then Wednesdays we do this show. But of course, if you want to support the BD, you want to support the boys, patreon.com/upnext is where you can for only $5, because we just did the Up Next Rumble, which had Extinctor or whatever the guy's name is, that luchador dude who showed up. Did you book him? You booked him, didn't you?
He was on the cheap side, to be honest. So yeah.
All right, I thought so. Yeah.
We also had Trent's mom Sue, Extinctor. Yeah.
Yeah. Gangrel was after that.
Gangrel was way after that.
Shout out. If you ever want to hear Gangrel talk about his favorite vampires, tune into the Up Next Rumble. No, but so many things happened at the Up Next Rumble, and again, check out the video replay or the podcast. I'd highly recommend the video. Can
I just reveal a bit of a behind the scenes secret to the Up Next Rumble?
Yeah.
We got big leagued, Braden.
We did.
We were met. We had the Spanish announcer enter as a surprise guest. We're
giving away all our surprises, but if you love us this much, you should have already watched it by now. And I think you would have understood that we also in our Up Next Rumble had Spanish announcer icon Hugo.
We had Hugo Savinovich, and I thought, as you said, Braden, we're very diverse. We can't have a Spanish announcer and not have a kind of North American announcer, but he big leagued us. We were meant to have Kevin Kelly enter the Up Next Rumble.
Right, that's right.
So maybe next year we'll work on Double K and hopefully get him in Up Next Rumble 2023.
And Chris Charlton,
yeah.
In the Rumble next year. I'll get Pollock on the case. Yeah, no, it was awesome. Go check it out. Again, all the praise to everyone involved, including you, Davie, and Dickie Bird, because holy shit, that was so much fun. But not only that show, I mean, watching that show on our Twitch and YouTube replays are free, but on the Patreon, we have so many podcasts in the back catalog, like 400 shows of all different types of wrestling podcasts, movie podcasts. But this month, we have so many more. Best Match Ever, HBK. We got No Way Out 2002. We got a Super Brawl in there. We got Was Next, Retro NXT. We just recorded a Was Next that's out this week featuring the crowning of the first ever NXT Women's Champion. So that's pretty cool. And then we also just did a Rumble 2000 review. And then what do we have else this week? Rush Hour. Yeah.
Rush Hour.
So
Rush
crazy
Hour
week.
With Jake from the Windy City. Buddy Cops.
Yes. Hell yeah. So listen to us talk about our love for Jackie Chan. It's pretty much a Jackie Chan love fest, and I'm always around for that. So that's an awesome show that's going to be out this week as well. So many cod pass. That's
so many cod
podcasts.
That could be our, if we ever do a like a
Codcast.
fish podcast.
I am Portuguese, and cod is quite prevalent in like our, cod is
fish and chips over here, right? Cod.
Yo,
it's either cod or haddock.
Wow.
And
would that be our tag team name in the Up Next Mania when we form to win
cod pastors?
Yeah, the cod casters. No, the cod and chips. Yeah, that would be all right.
The fish and lip connection. I don't know.
But yeah, so many podcasts out there on the Patreon. It's only $5, guys. That's how you support us. That's what we do for a living, and we appreciate all the listeners and just you listening to this show and checking us out, and everyone on Twitch, because I see Uncle D is in the Twitch chat, and I'm a buddy of his since he's a listener, and we've gone back and forth for quite a long time. He has said something in the chat I got to read out here, because we're all about love and respect here. Uncle D has lost his pal, his dog has recently passed away.
Oh, no.
So I want to pour one out for Chunk, who was not in the most recent tailgate, but was in a tailgate before that. So shout out Chunk, the dog. Uncle D, we love you.
Uncle D.
Yeah, we know we love you, dude, and we love Chunk. So shout out Chunk.
Shout out pets as well. Pets are the best.
That's what we got to segue into, shout out just having pets no matter what you got.
Well, I mean, a bit of a bad segue, but if we're pouring one out, pour one out for the money.
Wow.
Yeah.
We're going to not the parents' family pet or whatever. I don't know what it would be called. There's no segue to this at all. But yeah, I know you want to talk about Shane McMahon.
I regret not packing my jersey. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, you didn't pack your jersey to the UK. Damn. So that means it's in the house. That means I could go put it on right now.
But yeah, again, like crazy 24 hours. Shane McMahon, like there were reports, and obviously Way and Andrew Thompson covered it in quite a lot of detail on today's daily news show on Post Wrestling, which you can check out on their YouTube, Post Wrestling. But Shane McMahon apparently quietly being released. He had kind of big plans for Elimination Chamber and for WrestleMania itself. Rumors of him perhaps feuding with Austin Theory, which would have made sense considering Vince is kind of I don't like to use the word grooming him, but yes, on Raw right now, so that would have made a lot of sense. Rumors that maybe feuding with Seth Rollins, him taking a lot of the brunt for the poor reception to the Men's Rumble, and taking some heat backstage with him being kind of Super Shane, being in the Final Four and all that. Yeah, very, very odd. And I'm sure we're going to hear, there's going to be a lot more news coming out on that topic. But
I know you're upset because he's your guy.
When your own son... No, I just can't wait for him to go to AEW to be with his friends,
The Mean Street Posse?
I mean, come on. Orange Cassidy, Shane McMahon is a match I want to see, no?
Thumbs up.
Joey Janela's already tweeted at him, like, I'm not big on GCW, but a Shane McMahon, Joey Janela.
No, you're buying that.
Or Shane McMahon, Nick Gage. Come on, take my money.
Shane McMahon, Nick Gage is definitely what we need to get to. Shane McMahon, Shibata, Shane McMahon, Ishii. There's tons of
Shane McMahon in the G1.
Shane McMahon in the G1.
I mean,
Shane
McMahon I'd take him over fucking Bad Luck Fale or Toru Yano. A Shane McMahon G1 run. Jesus. That would be incredible.
That'd be great.
Incredible.
Shane McMahon versus Grand Metalik, obviously. Just so many different possibilities.
We need. Wow. I think we need to start off with, kind of the open door TNT title, Sammy Guevara, Shane McMahon, maybe to start things off, and then you can segue that into another feud, and then come the summer, but correct, like even your own son isn't safe in your company.
Wow,
crazy.
Well, I did think it was silly that he was like fighting. He was boxing with Matt Riddle.
Yeah.
And he gets the best of him in a punch fest. It's like, no, you don't even know how to punch.
No.
What do you do? Like, what? I don't know. That's really weird, though. I mean, remember he went away for a long time and then he came back. So
Yeah, he was.
I always just
Was it WrestleMania we last saw him against Braun?
no, but like thinking back, remember there was such a big hiatus where he was not.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, he wasn't there for a long time.
Yeah,
so
he's
then
been
he
back
did.
since 2016 now.
Yeah, I mean, I've said it on the show before where it's like Nick Khan's always, well, hey, good morning, Vince. So how much do you actually love Steph? How much do you actually love Paul there? It's like, what? You're just going to cut anyone? This guy's your son. I always refer to that tweet, though. I don't know who's in charge of Vince McMahon's Twitter, but whenever people always pull up that old tweet, you know what I'm talking about, where it's happy birthday Triple H to the cerebral assassin,
the King of Kings.
the King of Kings, one of the best in the
business.
To
be
my son-in-law, I'm so proud of this guy. You know, happy birthday Triple H. And then
it's like Triple H, The Rock, and John Cena, isn't it? Where it's just these glowing, like this glowing tweet, and then it's like HB Shane McMahon.
Happy birthday, Shane. And it's like, yo, dog, that's your kid, bro. So like, really, really odd. But if I'm Shane McMahon, yo, do GCW, do all that wild shit. Why the fuck wouldn't you? It'd be so funny. But I have a feeling he would.
I doubt
not do that.
Yeah.
But there goes the money.
But he could talk to Freddie Prinze. He could talk to Macaulay Culkin.
Are you changing your tone on my wild?
Freddie Prinze
You
Jr.
made fun of it.
And Macaulay Culkin. I don't know, but now you've got the money involved. Now you've got Shane. That'd be good. And then we just need the mind of Paul Levesque. Get him there.
Yeah.
The 4-man power trip could take on wrestling.
Bro,
could be the third brand.
Bro, you're like, now you're seeing it. Now you're seeing it. For anyone who listened to, was it Worst of Show, where we talked about some likely unlikelies? I made this wild prediction that Macaulay Culkin and Freddie Prinze Jr. would somehow get involved in wrestling. What I did not know is that 2 weeks later, Freddie Prinze Jr. would launch his own wrestling podcast. So I was like, okay, this guy is back in the wrestling world. Now Shane McMahon could be out. He is out. Triple H could be out. Bro, Terra Rising is going to join with Mac Culkin and Freddie Pete Jr. and Shane McMahon. And damn, it's going to be the new horsemen of wrestling. There could be a whole fed with those people. I don't know. I'm not a huge Shane fan, but he does entertain me. I mean, his best match is still with Kurt Angle, right?
Yes, yeah, for sure.
We've never done a best match ever, Shane. Now would be a good time. If this news came out before we made this, before we made the schedule
2 days ago.
Yeah, literally 2 days ago, we probably would have made it best match ever. Shane McMahon.
We could call an audible.
I mean, guys, should we add it to what's the month after this? March? We could just add it to March. March.
To March, or shall we bump Sean?
No, okay. You have my word and my axe that and my money that Shane McMahon best match ever. Shane McMahon in March. How about that?
Yeah, I'm down.
All right.
Totally down.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We'll have to do that.
We've got our. I think we're not going to reveal them, but we got our two best match evers already lined up for March. That's good. That takes a lot of stress off at the end of the month when racking our brains.
What's the other one?
Shall I just say it?
Yeah, I don't remember what it is.
Steiner Brothers, I don't remember. Right?
Oh,
Steiner's
yeah, we were going to do that.
Birthday,
yeah. Okay, yeah. That could be it. That could be wild too. So again, Patreon. We do so many of these best match ever and stuff. Go check it out. So many podcasts. But yeah, Shane McMahon, interesting. You love him. I'm going to have to dig out your jersey. Where is it? I'm going to put it on.
It's in, I think, my brown drawer, like the bottom.
All right, I'm going to find it.
Yeah.
I'm going to put it on, rock it, start skipping around the house. Money, baby.
Honestly, if you're ever in a bad mood, just put on that jersey, play Here Comes the Money, and skip around, and everything's okay again. It got me through the last 2 years, Braden.
When did you wear the jersey and I wore my Blue Jays jersey? So we look like we were legit like tag team. Was it Up Next Summer? I think we were rocking some shit. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I had it with the Up Next Summer tank, I think. Which you can get from prowrestlingtees.com/upnext.
Hey, Pro Wrestling Tees were all over this show again. I saw Scrump in the crowd. Shout out Scrump, PWT.
Again.
Yeah. I heard that they didn't sell as well as before, but it definitely sounded like it sold out pretty well here. Was there any other news before jumping into AEW. I know Brian Kendrick news was kind of the thing. Shane McMahon was kind of the thing, but I'm kind of blanking. I know Sami Zayn re-signed with WWE. That was a thing as well.
Yeah.
He's hanging out with the Jackass crew.
Well, there was we didn't get any kind of surprise returns today. I think that was something maybe being talked around because we did have that certain wave of releases. Their 90 days were up today, so you had the likes of Keith Lee, Karrion Kross, Ember Moon, Mia Yim, Tegan Nox. I think it would be interesting. I think Karrion Kross, there's been sort of vignettes already on MLW, I believe, like the Hourglass and stuff. Keith Lee is someone obviously would love to see in AEW, but I wonder, personally, I'd kind of like to see him do sort of the 6 months just going around everywhere first, just get those kind of cool matches in on the indies or like the New Japan Strong. I think there's a few people in Impact I'd like to see him face, like Josh Alexander, who was mentioned tonight. You've got some big lads over there who I think he'd have killer matches with, like Moose, like Jonah, like Steve Macklin. And maybe in 6 months, if AEW isn't quite as bloated and we're kind of maybe a bit more bored of the shiny new toys they've already got, Keith Lee could really spice things up in AEW. But I think the women who are available now could really shake up the women's roster in AEW because that roster is definitely improving. But I think they could use like a Tegan Nox in there or an Ember Moon.
Yeah, no, 100%. Ember, Tegan Nox. I do want to see Keith Lee in AEW 100%, but I think you're right. Like maybe letting it kind of, there's a lot going on there right now that they maybe would have jumped. They would have pulled Ali into this crowd here tonight because it's Chicago where he's from. But I do think maybe eventually he will leave. Essentially, if he's saying all these things, then it's like, either it's a work and he's trying to get something over again, but he has been creative with his angles and his character work and stuff in the past. But I mean, I would like to see him wrestle other people.
This one very much feels like with, when Pac wanted his release from WWE and they wouldn't give it to him. Like I don't think there's any way we're seeing Ali appear in WWE again until his contract's expired. I think they're just going to let him sit at home until it's over or they finally acquiesce. But he's a top talent and could be a top guy anywhere. I think he's great on the mic. I think I think just his cause as well is great and something to get behind. He just seems like a genuinely really great guy, and on top of all of it is fucking awesome in the ring. So I'd be really excited when Ali is finally free.
Free Ali.
Free Ali.
Free Ali. Yeah. There's a lot going on with all these freed wrestlers and stuff. There's so many people on the market there that could be creating a whole fed and stuff. But yeah, I wish Canada here, Toronto specifically, was more open up, and I wish the pandemic still wasn't a thing because I think the indies would be thriving. WWE snatched up everything and then now released them all back into the wild when the wild isn't too good, at least in certain parts. I mean, in the States, it looks like they're doing fine. Look at GCW and all that stuff, but there's totally other markets that are quite not accessible. And that's why AEW continues to go back to the markets they keep going to. Chicago does well, so they go. They got CM Punk, the poster boy, Ferris Bueller of wrestling, and he makes people go to the shows, right? So it's they won't come here for a long time, sadly, to Toronto. And then the same with the UK. But wouldn't it be cool? One day they will, and it will be awesome. It will be so cool. The fans will be so hungry for it. All the Toronto people, they'll be drunk. We'll be chanting "Go Leafs, go!" And then when they go to the UK, all you guys will be doing your singing songs and stuff. It'll be great, and we'll rejoice, and everyone will be like, "Wow, remember when they only did Daly's Place in Chicago? Remember those days?" Yeah, one day. The pandemic definitely got them stuck there, but it's okay. Let's talk about some AEW.
One last quick plug. Brand new Shot in the Dark is available on this very feed. John Siino or or maybe going by another
Whoa,
name
whoa, whoa, whoa,
now,
whoa! You know,
perhaps.
I mean,
Who
Davey, you
knows?
know, you're really good at botching things lately. So don't.
Hey, there's no record of that ever happening. It didn't happen. Didn't happen.
Wow,
Have
wow.
to be there. But yes, a brand new Shot in the Dark, where John Siino covers all the shows you may not have watched in the last week in 15 minutes or less, talking about New Japan Strong, Impact, NXT UK, 205 Live, Main Event, all of them. Yeah, check it out.
Yeah, honestly, it's 15 minutes or less. It's on this very feed of podcasts, and he fills you in on everything. If you are a completist, he also lets you know what you should check out if you're into checking out some cool matches, which he does pick out the gems. And I always tell him, if Taz sings, you got to talk about
You got to
it.
talk about it.
At least a minute of your show needs to be that. And it's
There is a new
15 minutes show.
Botchamania. I don't know if you've seen it yet.
I got to put it on later tonight.
That's our
I got to
thing.
work in the
That's our
morning.
thing. We normally do. Yeah.
We usually watch that, and now we can't. So you watch it and let me know what you like.
Yeah. Well, I think now we should get into Dynamite.
All right. All right, cool. Well, no Brian Kendrick here tonight. They changed the match that everyone was kind of excited to talk about. I mentioned it. No Brian Kendrick. So instead, Jon Moxley is going to start off here going up against Wheeler Yuta. He's joined by Orange Cassidy and Danhausen.
Oh, yeah.
Newly signed Danhausen.
So he's with the best friends? He's with Chaos, is he? What's going on here? JR seemed thrilled to see him.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, if you watched last week, so you saw the debut of Danhausen. Shout out, I forgot to mention last week, Siino joined me for upNXT, but shout out Cassidy from Body Slam from BDElite last week. But yeah, the debut on Dynamite was Danhausen cursing Adam Cole, and out comes this guy. It's totally like a comedy kind of gimmick here. But he's pretty funny. So Mox, the last time we saw Mox versus Yuta, he murdered him in like 60 seconds.
Yeah. So
I wasn't too thrilled about basically the replacement of a pretty cool matchup. And I understand why, but I don't know. Part of me was like, this is the match we get. But you know what? Wheeler Yuta, he can go, man. I think he can. He has a cool look, and he's getting there.
I think it was more a sense of, and obviously the post-match that we'll talk about in a little bit, it kind of makes more sense that Wheeler Yuta was there. But I think as a last-minute replacement, I think you have already got a story there where Wheeler Yuta was absolutely humiliated in their last match. So you see him wanting maybe a bit of redemption from that squash a couple of months ago.
Yeah. So it's like a step up. Like he's evolved. He's gotten to a next level, which Moxley tries to kill him early on, but Yuta gets out of a few holds and counters a lot of Moxley's stuff. Eventually, Moxley hits him with an X-Plex for a near fall, and then a Texas-style pile driver, kind of like Terry Funk does, like the stalling one, but Yuta kicks out. There's then an STF by Mox, but eventually Yuta gets out of it. There's then some strikes from Wheeler here, and then a cross body to the outside, he got a lot of height on there. Back in the ring, Wheeler hits him with a German suplex, and then what I used to use, I swear, in like Here Comes the Pain or something, it used to be called Judgment Slam. It's like an angle slam, but I don't know. Like I'm trying to think of who else does this move, but it looks pretty cool. But Moxley kicks out of it. I think Brian Cage did something similar too. Moxley then fights back and hits him with a series of strikes and starts doing almost the Danielson elbows, like to the neck and to the side of the head. And then eventually hits him with the paradigm shift and puts it to bed. But Moxley beats Yuta in, again, not quite as exciting when they said this was the replacement of a kind of a match that definitely had a lot of us excited. But Wheeler, I still think in kind of the early beginnings of hopefully a promising career, like definitely shows some fight.
Yeah, I mean, I did enjoy like how it looked like Yuta had kind of learnt from his mistakes last time. Just the very opening of the match with him sort of trying to jump the bell and get the advantage on Moxley earlier. I kind of liked that. I mean, like Brian Kendrick wasn't going to beat Mox. That's the thing. It's whoever they had in this match. Mox was going to go over. So really, you're only going to have someone on the level of a Wheeler Yuta, because you might want to save some other things for something a little bigger down the line. The match was fine, but you know where it's going. Mox is winning. There's not a hope in hell that Wheeler Yuta was winning this. I did like Mox did a little callback to his early Dean Ambrose days, where he hit it was his original version of the Dirty Deeds, which is now what LA Knight's using, with the headlock into the front DDT, hit it on the apron, and I was like, oh, I haven't seen him do that since his US title run right at the beginning of the Shield. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, just easy win from Mox here. But it's what happens after, which was a bit more interesting for me.
Yeah. Like, again, no disrespect to Yuta. Like, he's definitely coming along, and he is, because even from the last time, I'm like, it's kind of cool storyline, and now he's got more spunk and fought out of the thing. Mox saw Seth come out in the Shield gear, so he had to hit a Shield
do a callback. Yeah, I was wondering if it was kind of that, because we haven't seen him do that move for so long, so I was just a bit interested. And I also like how this match went a bit longer. They've Mox, since returning, has won pretty convincingly, but his matches have been a little longer, as if to kind of show maybe there's a little bit of rust there from his sort of couple of months off. Right.
Well, after the match, Moxley's in the ring alone celebrating, when someone comes into the ring to kind of just stand there and stare at Moxley, and that man is Bryan Danielson. They have a face-to-face in the middle of the ring. Danielson has a microphone. I love Danielson's look here. Bryan was rocking the white tee, of course, and just Adidas tracksuit sweatpants.
Yeah.
He's balling. This guy's a pro. He does. He's in the ring. He's got a mic. He says, "Hey, everybody here in Chicago, do you want to see us fight?" And the crowd erupt. I erupted. I want to see these guys fight. Well, I wanted to fight you, but since you've come back, Jon, you're the new Jon Moxley, and I saw you back then. I saw you. And ever since, I've wanted to test you, but I've watched you. I've watched you as AEW champ, and you were the best AEW world champ. And he says, if you had support around you, you would still be AEW champ. So we should fight together. He says, here's the deal. What's going on with AEW? Then he kind of runs down all this silly stuff that's going on. And then he mentions that there's the TNT champion who vlogs. He shouldn't be champion. He's a vlogger, and goes off. Did he mention Hangman as well?
Yeah, he says we've got. There's no reason why a millennial cowboy should be AEW champ. Why is there a dude dressed as a dinosaur running around with the tag team titles? And we've got a vlogger. A vlogger as the TNT champ.
He went on. Where was it when he ripped on Sammy for being a vlogger? Was that on a Dynamite? Or was that on an online thing?
I think it was. We watched Sammy's vlog, didn't we?
And Did we watch Sammy's vlog?
Yeah, we watched Sammy's vlog. Yeah. And they were like,
Danielson
do you want to do that? And he's just like, no, why are you doing this? No, you're right. There was an interview or something somewhere. But then we've seen him on Sammy's vlog where he's like,
he hated it.
This is stupid.
Yeah. He was like, why are you spending your time doing this? You should be
doing more worthwhile things.
Yeah. And I was like, yo, this guy's crushing this dude, a vlog. So Danielson says that. He says, Moxley, you should be champion. He says, we together could run this place together. Join me. He says, we could take guys under our wing. And then we got a guy like Wheeler Yuta who's coming out here with jokes like Danhausen and Orange Cassidy. We could take him. What if we took Daniel Garcia, Lee Moriarty? We could train the future together.
He does a little dig here as well. He's like, because he's saying, Wheeler Yuta with Orange Cassidy and Danhausen, Daniel Garcia hanging around with 2.0, and Lee Moriarty, who's hanging around with Dante Martin with his high-flying bull crap. just shitting on all these guys, but
ripping
picking out
everything.
guys who are in sort of
Yeah.
more jokey groups or whatever, or
Yeah.
not his style of wrestling.
So he's calling out all these names. Like he wants Daniel Garcia, Lee Moriarty. We could train the future together, Moxley. I know it's a lot on your plate right now, so you don't have to answer me right now, but think about it. It reminded me of Green Goblin and Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire. Think about it, hero. We could rule this place. But wow, did all of us like super wrestling fans into all this kind of real gritty style that's been kind of quite popular, especially here? He named all these guys that are like kind of the ones that everyone's kind of watching. So I mean, imagine, let's dream scenario here where that is a faction: Moxley, Danielson, Yuta, Garcia, Moriarty. That sounds insane.
I love it, and therefore it kind of made sense why you had Yuta in this role. I mean, you could have had Moriarty or Garcia,
Spanky,
but yeah, I found this very, very interesting. I liked his kind of rationale behind it. Was the only reason you are not AEW champion was because you're a loner. You don't have anyone. You wouldn't have been screwed. Like I'm blanking on his name.
Yeah.
Don Callis. Don Callis wouldn't have
Right.
got away with what he did if you had friends and people in your corner. And I also like how this can be. This is Danielson a little bit more tweener. Still got that arrogant, dickish
he's
side.
still mean. Yeah,
He's
a
still
dick.
mean, but it's a kind of transition where if you wanted to slowly move him back into a babyface role or more of a babyface with an edge, because the crowd were liking what he was saying, and even he says, he's like, hey, I know you don't like me, but you agree with me, and they're like, yeah, we do, that sounds cool. No, I would love to see this, and obviously eventually it would lead to a Mox and Danielson match, which sounds great, but I kind of hope they do run with this with a little bit, and it's not just Mox saying nah and we go to the match. I would like to see a bit of a kind of training camp with Mox and Danielson leading it, and these your Moriartys, your Garcias and Yutas joining them. I think that sounds great.
Honestly, it sounds awesome. I know that we have to go to Moxley versus Danielson at the pay-per-view at Revolution. Like, come on, that's the money match. But before then, you could run Mox versus Garcia or Mox versus Moriarty and Danielson, vice versa. Again, I know he's fought some of them, but like you could do these kinds of things to tease this. Or like if Danielson beats, it's kind of like Cora Jade and Raquel on NXT. If Danielson beats Moxley, Moxley's got to join him, or I don't know, something like that. But honestly, Danielson is like, look, I've talked about some of my favorites. If you watch on Twitch, we have Kenny Omega on our set, but Danielson is just this like next level breed when it comes to this silly thing called pro wrestling, because not only does he know the combat sport part of it, like the wrestling is crazy there. It's so there. He's on the nose of it. And then when it comes to cutting promo, I thought this is maybe, if not second best thing on this show, was this promo from Danielson. Just like it had my attention as the smart wrestling fan. It got your attention, but so awesome. He's this bad guy, but he's also making sense, and everything he said sounds good and kind of true. It's like he's doing what CM Punk was doing, but like who knew that Danielson, I mean, for the past few years in WWE, he's had the chops, but not only is this guy the best wrestler, but his promo is amazing. And he just set up how many programs for how many different people in one promo.
Also,
so like amazing.
Just a thought, if they do go with this 5, Blood and Guts last year was in May. You could always do, like, if say you got a Kenny back by then, you know Danielson has an axe to grind with Kenny, you know Mox has an axe to grind with Kenny. You could get a few of these younger guys in a big main event match, the Bucks in there and Adam Cole and whoever else. Could be pretty good if they wanted to do another Blood and Guts with a fresh faction which isn't the Pinnacle or the Inner Circle again. That could be pretty cool. So and a nice amount of time to build to something like that. But yeah,
But
I'm all for all the
yeah.
kind of different possibilities coming out of this. It sounds really interesting.
It was almost like a movie, like a chapter in some sort of, I don't want to say like Mortal Kombat or like Ninja Turtles or something, but he's like, yo, like, why aren't we working together? Me and you are not so different.
Yeah.
You and, like I said, Spider-Man or something. Like it's totally like a movie. Like, look, everyone expects us to fight, but actually I'm not here to do that.
Where
But then usually they end up fighting.
it's more the villains talking to each
Yeah,
other.
of course.
It's like Catwoman and Penguin, isn't it? In like
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
Did you just compare Danielson and Moxley to
No,
Catwoman? And
I'm just thinking of like just scenes from movies where it is the villains. Like, hey, like we both want the same thing here. Why are we against each other?
Yeah, no, I dig it. Because he also was like, yo, if you're world champion, then we're world champion. Like, it's fine. So he did say, like, kind of focusing, like, you could be the guy of this. So I love this promo. Honestly, Danielson is just, again, next level superstar in this game. He loves wrestling and he's so good at it. People can just dream to be someone like this guy. Well, we go from that to lots of other stuff on this show.
Yeah. Can we skip to the main event?
How did we go from that promo? Again, I'm praising that Danielson promo, and then we go to the next best thing, which I think we just went from something I absolutely loved to quite possibly my least favorite segment in AEW history. Is that a like okay assessment? Like you could understand where I'm coming from?
Yeah, I wouldn't argue with you. I think there have been other contenders, but I wouldn't argue with anyone who said that this was the worst segment.
Okay, it's got to be up there, like at me. But what's the worst segment in Dynamite or AEW history? Because this one for me was up there. We go to Brandi Rhodes. That's right, Brandi is back. Everything's better with a shot of Brandi. She comes out. She's got the Chicago crowd already booing her. She says it's great to be back here in Chicago. Well, she doesn't say that. She says it's great to be back here in Cleveland when they boo her. And she says, oh, it's the same thing. Cleveland, Chicago, whatever. And she kind of starts talking, but she's interrupted by Dan Lambert, who comes out with the Men of the Year. And Lambert says that you have a reality show, but you really need a reality check, that you and your husband are the biggest heels in the business and you don't even know it. And then mentions how her attitude or her accent flips when she comes out here talking about those promos. Whenever she's saying the word bitch, she does that a lot, that Brandi. And then when Lambert says that, Ethan Page starts to laugh. So Brandi says, I don't know why you're out here laughing, Ethan Page. We only used you to get to Josh Alexander.
I mean, this to me was the only good line in this. So I'm like, yeah, okay, that's all right.
So half the crowd is like, I don't know who that is. And the other half are like, oh, okay, that was pretty good. Yeah. So the crowd just start taking over the segment and just start chanting, shut the fuck up to, I want to say Brandi, but also to Lambert, to be fair. So just shut the fuck up chants are ringing out. Brandi then gains control and says, hey, Lambert, American Top Team, you think you're all that? Well, your best fighter got knocked out by Jake Paul, and then talks about Amanda Nunes, or is that too soon? And then Brandi calls American Top Team. Are you ready for this? This is a zinger. I know right before Dynamite on TBS, Big Bang Theory plays, but Brandi right here says American Top Team, more like American Top Tits, bazinga. Then they get on their phones and they text someone. So out comes Paige VanZant to then try to fight with Brandi as all these random people separate the two and everyone's yelling and swearing. They're acting as if it's this huge pull apart between Brandi and Paige VanZant, as I am laughing and my face is in my palm. And I was in the middle of, I think, cooking dinner when I went, what was that?
Don't forget Lambert brought up the Bulldogs as well.
The Bulldog, yeah. There's a lot of stuff I'm trying to forget from what thinking back of watching this, but yeah. The plus, hey, Paige VanZant, big fan of her. Glad she's here. But what a terrible! I did not like this.
There are so many things, just confusing and wrong here. First of all, I don't hate Brandi like everyone else seems to. I do think I think her delivery is fine. I think she's one of the better women on the mic there, but I don't see what her purpose is there, if that makes sense. It's this feud already is confusing because you had Dan Lambert pissed off that Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page haven't been getting TNT title opportunities when other people have, but they've been feuding with Cody, who is adamant that he's not a heel. First of all, I hate using kind of wrestling terms in wrestling promos. Like when I'm watching it, I kind of want to kind of believe that what I'm seeing, and seeing someone saying, "Hey, I'm not going to be a bad guy," is just weird to me. And using terms like heel and face, it just feels really gross and shitty to me. Brandi, no one likes her. This crowd doesn't like her, and she's come out playing the heel with the Hello Cleveland. So she's leaning into the heel side while Cody is adamantly trying to be babyface, but feuding with these two heels, leading to a match, I guess. Paige versus...
What do you mean you guess?
Brandi.
You mean, Davie, I'm sorry to tell you, you are going to pay, what is it, 40, 50 bucks for Revolution, and part of that's going to be this match.
This match won't be on pay-per-view. I don't think.
We'll
I
see.
think this will be
right.
TV. I think this will be TV or a mixed tag, more likely. And just it's confusing. Dan Lambert is such a clear, obvious heel. Brandi's such a clear, obvious heel. But you're building up a feud with a babyface that no one likes against two heels that people are indifferent about. I don't. What am I to get out of this? And then it's just cringy lines that are embarrassing and an awful pull apart. I don't know who is putting this on, and so we keep on saying about the roster is, we're going, yeah, we'd love to see Keith Lee there, but this roster's pretty bloated, and then we're filling a 15-minute segment with this shit.
100%. I did not like the segment at all. I would love to see Paige VanZant in AEW and wrestle and do some more stuff, but definitely not in this role. So she can job to Brandi in some weird way. So ridiculous. I think I'm so over Dan Lambert. Every time he's with different people, he's saying all sorts of different shit. He's using buzzwords. I'm just like, dude, you're good. You're a good talker and you've done some fun stuff, but you don't. It's just too much. Too much on the show.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, maybe.
Have him. The Men of the Year stuff. We've been banging on this for months now. It's not working. But if you want to bring in a Paige VanZant for a special appearance for a match, sure, have a Dan Lambert come in, but maybe have them come in against a clear babyface who's liked. Have like a Ruby Soho against her or someone, but like this has no interest. And Dan Lambert, it's a lot. He's been on way too much, and there are so many other people we don't see from each and every week.
Yeah, especially like you just did I know you started with a match and then it was a big talking segment and it was an awesome talking segment. And then you cut to this and it's just like, it doesn't make this look any better. It's like if you air an amazing match and then watch a really bad match, it makes the bad match even more bad than it actually is, because you just watched something that was really good. And that was when I just watched Danielson cut that promo. And then I watched Brandi cut a promo. I'm like, what is she doing? Please make it stop. Please, Brandi, stop, please. So yeah, I'm not that excited. I'd rather see Paige versus like a Layla Hirsch or something like that, like in a match than rather just Brandi and angles and stuff. Why should we? I agree with you though. I don't hate Brandi as much as everyone else does. I think it's kind of funny, but then use her that way, and instead you still are, but you're doing this weird. I don't know.
You know what Brandi would be great in? I think Brandi, as when you're doing one of those tired authority figure roles in WWE. Her as a general manager of SmackDown, where she's just a bitch, and she's in the Sonya Deville role. I think she'd be great because she's very comfortable on the mic. I don't think she's bad, but there's clearly this unlikability factor that people don't want to watch her, and especially in a company like AEW where it's such a focus on high quality wrestling, and she doesn't cut it when it comes to that. And I think people notice, they see her come out, and right away they realize, not, this isn't to build up for someone else, this is to build up for her. And I think that's where you just it's turn off right away.
100%. Yeah, it's even Marie Heat. It's just like we just don't want to see it. I don't really want to see her wrestle. I do think she can get over as a heel. You're right. Maybe that is a role down the line or something, but yeah, I hated that. I hated it so much. Then we went to the Hardy family office. Did I say that right? Hardy family office?
Andrade Hardy family office, the AHF.
Oh, right.
AFA.
Yeah, that's right. AFA. So the AFA, that sounds like something Chris Elliott's involved with. AFA. Hardy family office. They're backstage with Private Party. Not backstage. They're in the stairwell, as they always are. Hardy family office is so low rent that they're always in the stairwell. Yeah, damn. Private Party, Matt Hardy says they kind of, who was it? Not Quinn let him down, but it's not over yet. There's going to be more opportunities. Andrade shows up. They talk about just ridiculous stuff. They mentioned, I think Rampage is Isaiah Cassidy's going to get a title shot at Sammy Guevara for the TNT title. And Cassidy says that, I'm taking that title, Sammy, and then I may just take his girl. And then they go, ooh. And then Matt Hardy's like, yo, Andrade, why isn't that kid Darby with us? And Andrade is like, well, sorry, I'm trying to get it. You know, he wants more money. I got to get Darby. You know, I'm working on it. And that's the promo. I think that was the best I could do for recounting the promo.
I've got to admit, I completely zoned out. About halfway through this.
Wait, during me saying that, or
no? I was listening to you because I was trying to figure out what happened, and by the sounds of it, you didn't even really know what happened either.
No, nothing.
I got
happened.
the match. He's disappointed that they lost the tag title opportunity, but yeah, this again, as you said, you then follow the Brandi segment with this. Brandi is a turn off for so many people, and then we go right to Matt Hardy, who is exactly the same. And with these people that I'm sorry, like Private Party and the Blade was there, all in his mask and glasses and stuff.
Hey, mask up.
I care about Andrade, but again, can you wrestle, please? Can you wrestle? Why are you walking around really talking weird all the time
about this kid Darby?
Once again, there are so many
this kid
great people on this roster, and we feel the need to give these guys time all the time, and also it's building to a match. I think this has been a big problem with Dynamite and Rampage recently. Rampage especially, but Dynamite's guilty of it too. You show me the match, and I'm like, well, Isaiah Cassidy isn't winning that at all. So why are we really like, sure, you can have the match as like a buffer match in a show, but do we really need to give the time to promote this on TV? Use your darks, your elevations, your Twitter, your stuff like that, and you can air this segment, and you can do a little throwback as you're doing the entrances, a picture in picture if you want, but we don't need this on TV. These guys are not. They've been around for a while. They're okay. They're not really the guys I'm tuning in to watch every week. And there's absolutely no way Isaiah Cassidy is beating Sammy Guevara on Friday. So, and following the last segment, I started getting in a mood because I was feeling this show was going the same way as 2.0 was going yesterday, where I really enjoyed the opening match yesterday with Imperium and Diamond Mine. I thought that was great. And then I really enjoyed the opening kind of segment with Danielson and Mox here. and then I get Brandi, and then I get Matt Hardy, and it's just,
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and it's the Hardy family thing is so stupid. People are always hanging out in their stairwells and cutting promos. It's like, go somewhere else, first of all. Get a little set made or something you can travel with. Just looks weird. But yeah, I'm so over the Hardy thing. And Andrade, he wants to hang out with Mr. Stink and his kid Darby. I want to see Andrade thinks, because he's saying that Darby wants more money. He wants more money. Well, what if he like accidentally thinks he's got Darby signed to Hardy family office, but he gets him confused with Danhausen?
Yeah.
So he brings him into the thing, and Danhausen's just like, oh yes, very Hardy, very Hardy.
That would be
very
pretty funny.
Family, very family, very family.
Or
well,
even,
we go from that.
you get the kid sometimes at ringside who always cosplays. I don't know what city it's in, but there's one city where there's a kid at front row who always cosplays as Orange Cassidy.
Yes,
just get him.
I got this kid, Sting's kid, Darby.
Like, no, that's a 12-year-old Andrade.
yeah. We go to our next segment, our next match. It's the House of Black. Is it the Kings of Black, or is it the Kingdom of Black? The Kings of Black. What? The Kings of Black.
Well,
who?
I believe they're the Kings of the Black Throne.
The Kings of the Black Parade.
Representing the House of Black, but they were also identified as the Knights of the Black Throne. So
they identify as the Knights who say "ni."
Yeah,
the Black Knights, the Black Knights, Kings of the Round Black Table from the House of Black.
In the House of Black. Yeah.
In the house. Welcome to my house.
Spooky Tattoo Men is way easier. Let's
Spooky
just go
Tattoo
with
Men.
Yeah,
they definitely work. The metal guys.
Yeah.
That's what I call them. Well, the Kings of Black are going to face Pac and Penta. Now, Pac comes out. He's got it's still Daredevil Pac, Stick Pac, where he's got the bandana around his eyes. And Miedo, of course, Alex is there too. We get Penta and Pac kind of in control early on, and then Pac kind of reveals that yes, he can in fact see now. He's healed.
He's doing the Daredevil thing where kind of he, I think Black went for a clothesline and he kind of just went down to his knee to duck it, and then did his handspring and kick combo and all that. And you're like, whoa! I was thinking he was going to do the whole match like this.
Yeah, I thought he was going to do it. He asked Jake Roberts for tips on how to wrestle in blindfolds. So there's then Penta, who does a flying leg drop to the balls at one point during picture-in-picture. Penta gets beat down on, but when we come back, he fights back with a sling blade. Pac comes in. There's a series of kicks to Malakai Black, but he returns the favor with some bicycle knees and pump kicks as well. Pac fights back with a huge snap brainbuster for a near fall. There's then a tope senton from Penta. And then there's all sorts of the black mist from Malakai Black into Penta's face, which then allows him to get hit with the like flapjack into the power slam combo. Dante's Inferno is what they call it, but looks pretty cool, kind of like Braun Breaker kind of does for the win.
Isn't it the Viking experience that
they used to do it too?
Yeah.
Do they still call themselves that?
They're the Viking Raiders, and the Viking experience is their move, because you've got to experience it, right?
Yeah, true. Well, Penta and Pac experience a loss to the Kings, or the Kingdom of the Black Throne, the Black Parade. The spooky goth dudes win, and Penta got sprayed in the face. So Pac got out of it. He didn't get taken over by the symbiote black mist that can take over. He healed away from it. I was expecting maybe Pac not even to actually wrestle and turn on Penta, but instead he wrestled. But now Penta sprayed in the face, so maybe he'll turn evil or something. I don't know what's going on. Is Julie Hart in this group? I don't know.
Yeah, look, I mean, all four of these guys are great, but this has been a feud that's built up for quite a while, and where technically there was nothing wrong with it, I didn't really feel any kind of heat or excitement in this match at all. It was just a bit by the numbers for me, and and like we're all saying about, oh, is Julia Hart starting to turn bad? Is Pat gonna join them? And now we're saying the same about Penta, but they really haven't fed into that at all, apart from the fact we've seen them wear an eye patch. I'm a bit tired of it already, and I feel it needs to move a bit forward, because this tag didn't really blow me away by any means, and
I didn't really care for it. Yeah.
It could, and I'm getting to the point now where I'm losing interest in the eventual Pac and Malakai Black match, which I assume we'd get. So I don't think I really care too much. I think they've left it a little bit too long for me.
No, it's totally fair. Like, I'm a big fan of everyone involved in this match, and it still kind of felt, it's a little weird. It's like all these guys are really good at the wrestling, and therefore we're still focusing on more so the gimmick and the character. I mean, this was a match and there wasn't much of an angle or vignettes or anything, but that we normally see, but still it had the mist and stuff. I feel like they're kind of keeping all of these guys on their back burner set. Like, they got a whole set of back burners here in AEW of just guys that eventually we just got to strap the rocket to and it works. So it's like they got a few of those. Like, they did it with Miedo, where it's like, hey, Miedo, you're going to talk about video games for a little while until we want you to excel and go into that role. So I feel like these guys are still in that thing, and maybe they're just working some kinks out as well. But you know what? If Revolution is Pac versus Black, then that sounds pretty cool. Like, just do the match and it'll be fine. Less of the spooky stuff. The spooky stuff is cool because they still look so badass when they come out with that entrance. But yeah, I know what you mean, but it totally feels like they're just being chill. They're just chilling. They're not really making it a main thing, because there's a lot going on
every week, is it?
Yeah,
it's just okay.
It's
someone
slow.
else gets misted, but we haven't really seen the effects of what the mist is. It seems like you just have bad eyesight for a couple of weeks and then you're good. And I think we've all been theorizing, oh, maybe it's as you said, the symbiote, it's going to infect you or whatever. We really haven't seen that, and maybe that would be cooler if they did. Like, I think they're half-hearting it. You either want to go full throttle with the spooky shit, or just bring it back and have great matches. And they're kind of like treading the line in the middle, and it's not really interesting me either side.
Yeah. I'm interested to see where we go with it, but it's still a little too slow. They're the metal guys, but it's a little too sludge metal right now. We go to Adam Cole. He says, "Hey, Brandon, are you filming? Good." He says, "Despite what you've heard this week, I am still undefeated in singles action. My record reflects that." So Orange Cassidy may have beat him last week, but doesn't count because it was lights out, silly gimmicks. He says, "If I have to hear that Orange beat me one more time, I will slap anyone in the mouth. Some point now, everyone's going to see the new Adam Cole. Well, this Friday on Rampage, I fight Evil Uno. I'm going to hurt him and I'm going to beat him. And then I'm going to let the world know what is next for Adam Cole." So he's going to fight Evil Uno and he's going to hurt him and beat him. Baby.
I hope he does something really, like slices his throat or something, because
Jesus.
But I mean, the way he's building this up, he's like, he's doing this. I didn't lose that match and you're going to see a new me when I beat Evil Uno. And you're like, well, okay. And again, it's another match on Rampage where it's like, I wonder who's winning that one. So I think I'm hoping you see maybe him do kind of the stuff that Mox was doing, before he went away for a bit, where he either just destroys this guy in a minute or beats him and then rips the mask, bloodies him up. I think he needs to do something pretty cruel to poor Uno.
Well, I think he's also going to cut a promo after and say, like, I want a title shot or something along. It's basically what happened to Britt. Britt lost the lights out match and then somehow weaseled her way into the title shot and then won the title.
Yeah.
And I feel like Adam Cole's going to kind of do this similar story or something.
Who is the champion, by the way, right now?
For AEW World Champion?
Who's the AEW champion right now?
Well, he's coming out later, so.
Oh, just no mention of him. We've gone through an hour of the show. I've seen Brandi. I've seen Hardy families. I've seen blind men. No idea.
Cowboy comes.
he doesn't seem important on this show at all.
He hasn't been seen really.
No.
Just on those video packages. Well, we go to our next match, Nyla Rose versus Ruby Soho. Ruby Soho, of course, comes out to Ruby Soho, the song by Rancid, and Lars is there. So that's pretty cool. He's like the vocals for Rancid, and he kind of like gifted her to use the song in the name and everything. So that's a pretty cool moment. Boys with CM Punk as well. Nyla beats down on Ruby early on here. Power moves like Simone drops and body slams. Nyla then starts to bite the hand and the fingers of Ruby Soho, then hits her with a Death Valley driver for a near fall. There's then arm bars and arm twists as they go to break, but Ruby fights back and hits it with a series of boot washes in the corner. Vicky Guerrero, who manages Rose, is distracting Ruby, and then she gets a spine buster on the outside. Back in the ring, Ruby fights back and hits the no future kick, but Vicky pulls the leg of Rose just to go under the rope, so the ref has to stop the count, but then realizes Vicky did it because it was right in the ref's view. But Ruby gets mad, goes to fight Vicky, ends up getting beat up by Nyla here. They fight up top, but eventually Nyla dodges the no future kick again and hits a senton off the top, and then the beast bomb, and wins the match. But more Vicky Guerrero.
Yeah, the no future kick, it was the one she does where she's kind of sat on the turnbuckle and she grabs the arm and goes for it. And yeah, it looked a little clunky because you didn't really see the block. It just looked like Ruby just fell.
She just ate shit. Yeah.
But I thought the swanton looked great. I will say Nyla, she takes some big bumps sometimes. We've seen her do this like on the apron. She's pretty big, and doing this kind of swanton stuff was pretty impressive. I thought the match was fine. The crowd were not interested at all. But I thought both worked pretty well. I don't think Nyla needs Vicky at all. I think she's more of a detriment to her.
Me too.
But I do think you do need a Nyla in the division to have that kind of big monster for a babyface to overcome. I mean, she's kind of their Kane, isn't she? She's that sort of first challenger that you have a big threat against. So I guess they're heating her up. The match with the win here, but the match was all right. There was some nice stuff, but I can't say that the crowd really seemed too enthused at all.
Yeah, I didn't hate the match. It just was just kind of there. I think I would have preferred it if there was no interference and stuff like that. Like I know you want to protect Ruby, but then just why not have Ruby go over? I feel like Ruby just loses a lot since being here, but yeah, I didn't hate it though. Definitely. We go to the Ass Boys, the Gun Club. They're walking backstage, probably in the same stairwell that everyone seems to hang out here. And they see Jungle Boy all by himself. I'm not quite sure what he was doing here. And they're like, oh, hey, Jungle Boy, what are you doing? Reading your jungle book, huh? You got your jungle necessities? And then they beat him up. They throw him outside of a door, exiting the venue here. You see like mountains of snow and sidewalks and like a Marriott hotel. And then they throw Jungle Boy into the snow. And then the Ass Boys and Billy Gunn run off as Christian tries to make the save. It's like, you pieces of shit, you
sons of bitches.
Sons of bitches. So yeah, I have in my notes here, Jungle Boy takes a bump of snow, which could be something else in other people's terminology. Yeah. But yeah, first of all, jungle necessities. You already called him the Jungle Boy. You already said, hey, what are you doing reading the Jungle Book? Why wouldn't you just say the bare necessities? Because we would all understand what you said. But I did like when they started singing it. Yeah,
he kind of sings it.
Yeah.
I mean, what I've learned here is don't you dare ever accuse Jungle Boy of reading. He was. They're like, what are you doing? What? Reading the Jungle Book? And he's like, you motherfucker on tape. I'm like, whoa. It's a good book, the Jungle Book. Why are you so mad about reading the Jungle Book?
People don't read here in the Midwest.
I don't read the Jungle Book. Yeah, worth noting, Colton and Austin topless going outside in Chicago in negative whatever it is. Couldn't have been too fun.
Well, I mean, it's also noted that the Ass Boys have officially trademarked Ass Boys.
Nice. Good.
They're officially called that now, so they're going to be calling each other the Ass Boys.
So is it? So are we getting the Ass Boys against challenging for the Jungle Boys soon, or do you think it's Billy and Austin or Colton?
I imagine it's the two kids.
Kids?
Yeah. But
That's cool.
we're going to do a 6-man with their dads, right? Christian and his boys versus.
We'll do the 6-man before doing the kind of title match, maybe, because it seems that the kind of the story with Jungle Boys right now is just they're facing everyone, right? They're putting the title on the line against the whole division every week, it seems. But yeah, at first I'm like, again, the show's was getting me down a bit, and then you go and see Billy Gunn. But I get here it's more of a way to elevate Austin and Colton, and I do think they're good when it comes to these kind of backstage segments and stuff. They're very unlikable, and they're very good at being those kind of douchebags. And it felt a bit like WWF around like 99, 2000 with the brawling outside and stuff, which I kind of dug. I like when you're getting a bit of a different location. So I didn't mind this.
That's what I mean. Like they're always in the stairwells when it's like, if you have access to stuff like this, then why not film there? It looks way, you're totally right. Yeah. What a silly backstage attack, which clearly sets up some matches and stuff. I had no issue with it, but you're right. It does give like almost like a retro video game. Here Comes the Pain kind of vibe, like fighting around in the snow and stuff. Of course, taking a snow bump, there doesn't really hurt, but that's the thing. They're just messing with him, right? Like saying, "Oh, what are you reading, the Jungle Book?" Jungle Boy should come out for that match with like the Jungle Book or something. Jungle Book inspired gear. I mean, that's pretty much.
Well, you should have because you already had Bryan earlier in the show. Insulting Luchasaurus for dressing like a dinosaur.
Right, dinosaur.
You should recreate it where Baloo dresses up as the monkeys, the gorilla.
Oh man!
So you should have Luchasaurus as the dinosaur dressing up as a gorilla.
Wow, I haven't watched the Jungle Book in quite a while, but Baloo dresses up like one of the evil giant monkey things.
What's his name?
King Louis.
King Louis, yeah.
Damn.
Was he a chimp? Chimp, I think, isn't he?
Oh, he's one of those big ones, like orangutan or something. Yeah. Shout out Jungle Book.
You, I want to be like you.
Yeah, the songs are still bangers. I mean, the book and stuff when I was a kid was great, but the songs, come on. Even the live action was pretty good.
Yeah.
That's a classic stoner movie, the live action Jungle Book. It's crazy. It's ridiculous.
Have you read the book, the Jungle Book?
When I was a kid, yeah.
Fucking loser.
Yeah. Fucking reading? What do you think? You're reading? Oh, you read?
Fight me, you reader.
Wow, you read? Thought you were from the jungle, huh? No read in the jungle. Imagine Jungle Boy's gimmick. If it was WWE, he literally would be acting like Mowgli in his promos. Like
100%.
Back in the jungles, I was trained by King Louis, and I learned the way of fight. No, instead he wrestles with his mate, the dinosaur, the guy who thinks he's a dinosaur. Well, this show feels like I took a bump of snow, but we continue to, hey, look, it's the world champion.
Who?
Hangman Adam Page. That's right. Tony Schiavone in the ring. He introduces Hangman to come out with the title. And Hangman, he announces that next week is the Texas Death Match taking place from Atlantic City. They all chuckled when they had to say that. Hangman says that am I wrong, or is Hangman mad that he hasn't wrestled as much lately? But then he kind of explains why.
His criticisms seem to be the same as mine, where look, I've been the champ for 81 days and I've only defended it twice.
Yeah.
And I'm stuck in the middle of the show every week.
He says, I wanted a challenger. I'm here waiting. I had a 5-month-old baby. He's spitting up mushy peas everywhere. Shout out mushy peas. He then says, I have a flight home tomorrow, which is probably getting canceled, which I'm pretty sure his graphic said that as well.
Right.
It said Hangman Page, AEW champion, flight probably getting canceled. He says, and now I have a Texas death match. Well, I don't give a shit. I'm going to do it. And I don't need that to happen. I'll do it right now. I need it tonight. So come out here, Lance. But instead, out comes Jake Roberts and Dan Lambert. They clearly went shopping for the same leather jackets. And Lambert says, "You're not a real cowboy. We're here in Chicago, the home of the Blackhearts." Well, I don't know why he mentions Cleveland, but he says Cleveland canceled their Indians, unlike the Blackhearts. He says Blackhawks.
Yeah.
He says he there's so much going. That's what I'm saying. Like Lambert earlier was out here cutting promo, and then now he's out here again. Because at one point Hangman's talking, but Roberts interjects, and now I can't understand what anyone's saying. But Roberts says that he can tell that there's a new Hangman. Everyone's talking about the new Hangman. Everyone knows you're looking over your shoulder. You're probably not sleeping. Is it because you got nightmares and now you're having different nightmares? And Hangman's like, "Hey, enough with the talking here. I don't want to hear this from you two. I want to fight." He wants the Texas death match. Well, I want to fight. So out comes Lance Archer. Everybody dies. And he says, "Come to the ring and fight me." So Archer rushes the ring. Paige does a tope suicida. They start to brawl, but then there's these steel stairs that are set up, and there's the choke slam onto that from Archer, which looks like it hurt. And then the blackout through a table ringside, and Archer says, "Next week, I will be your new champion." So yeah, setting up the Texas death match, the mid-card world title.
Yeah, this feels like the fifth most important feud going on right now. Which is a shame. I feel your champion should feel like a bigger deal. He should either be in a featured main event, or he should be opening the show every week, or something like that. Adam Page, through no fault of his own, has just been booked as a real afterthought. And I hope once he gets through Archer, his actual proper program starts kicking off, and he is the focus of this show. I think the match could be good. Archer's a little hit and miss with me, but I think for a Texas death match, we could maybe see a bit of another side of Hangman. We haven't seen him do a great deal of the like hardcore stuff. Obviously, we've seen him bloodied up in his match with Danielson. But I hope next week starts to really kind of elevate him, and Hangman feels a bigger deal than he is. And I have no idea why Archer has two managers. Like the guy's fine when he talks on his own.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm not saying he's the greatest promo in the company, but he's fine when he talks on his own. He's got Jake. Why does he need Lambert as well? He's already been on the show once tonight. It's a bit odd.
Yeah, I don't like the pairing. I like Jake and Lance. I don't like Lambert with Lance. Like, it just doesn't make sense. He's already got a guy who talks. And Jake is scary. Jake almost is like, "Yo, Hangman, fuck these two. I'll fight you right now." It's kind of the vibe I get from Jake. So it's like, why do you need Lambert again? That's why I'm so over him. I am excited for the match, though. It could bang. A Texas death match from Atlantic City. Hell yeah. Damn. I hope he makes his flight tomorrow.
Yeah.
I hope he does. Yeah. Chris Jericho is backstage. He's got an interview here. He says that he's tired of Proud and Powerful, of what they did last week. But even though we won, Garcia was embarrassed. And you have all this pride and respect for your friend, Eddie Kingston, Santana, or Ortiz, because you started together. Well, we started together because we started AEW together. No one has more influence than me in this industry. Jericho says, "I am more of an influencer in this business than Kylie Jenner is on Instagram." So Inner Circle town meeting next week, and you all have to show up. So yeah, town meeting.
Jericho's found his 70th nickname, I think. The
influencer. He's used this. There's been the Jericho's invented that thing online for a few years. So I guess he's just kind of taking the next thing. Hey, at least he didn't say GFY.
True. I think he's retired that and maybe found a new nickname.
Influencer.
We used to have one of these kind of town halls
every week.
So we're going back to that.
It needs to happen.
I've said this just a couple of weeks ago where Jericho kind of he feels in a bit of a limbo right now. He's trying to reinvent himself again, but he still kind of seems the Jericho of old. I think he needs to go away for a little bit to kind of feel excited when he comes back again. But we'll see. whenever they announce these town halls and things, I used to kind of groan, and then they always tended to be a pretty fun segment. So, and we get to see Big Jake again. Haven't seen Jakey for a while, so I
Jake
think
Hager.
hopefully this will be a good segment because they're normally pretty good.
Honestly, I don't want to see. I think I want to see them just like do their own thing, but like, hey, we still have each other's back, but like clearly you got your own things to do, so let's separate or whatever. I don't know. I'm interested because I love Proud and Powerful. I love Sammy. I do love Jericho, but I do think it is at the right time. He's good at taking a step back, and right now wouldn't be a bad time. But let's see what happens with it. Let's see where they go with it.
They're building for the match with Kingston, right? And then I hope maybe he'll step away for a little because I don't think we need him right now. When AEW started, you certainly did need a Jericho there. I don't think you necessarily...
He was the influencer.
Yeah, I don't think you necessarily need him right now, and I'm a bit tired of him because also his matches don't... He's not the same he used to be, and his matches don't quite deliver like they used to. So it's just taking up time from some of the other guys I'd maybe like to see a little bit more of.
Yeah, well, I always love Jericho. I always love him. He's one of my favorites. But it definitely is like, if you're helping to give the rub, sure. Like if you fight Eddie Kingston, you gotta lose to Eddie Kingston.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
At the pay-per-view. If Eddie can come back, I don't know if he will be back in time for the pay-per-view, but
yeah. So what was his injury again? Was it eye?
Was it his leg, eye, or I don't remember what it was.
Yeah, it was only.
So was he selling the leg?
It was a few weeks, I think, from what I remember.
Then that's not that bad.
Yeah, he should be okay for pay-per-view.
All right, well, let's move on to the main event of AEW from Wednesday, February 2nd. Punk versus MJF live in Chicago. Yes, some would say a dream match with months of building to this thing. We get CM Punk coming out. Huge ovation here in Chicago, the hometown boy. Like I said, Ferris Bueller in his hometown. And then MJF comes out all by himself, but wearing, of course, his scarf. And did you notice his tights?
I did, yeah.
Like New York Yankees.
Yeah, is it that or White Sox? They're both the stripes, right?
Right. Okay. I was thinking it was the New York Yankees because it's kind of similar, like the John Cena CM Punk feud when he called them the New York Yankees and so forth. So he's pretty much calling Punk that by him wearing these tights, but cool shout there. This match starts off with MJF getting a cheap shot to Punk here, and then Punk just gets pissed, so fires back and basically chases him around ringside and then through the crowd. They go up through the crowd, like through the rafters here, and Punk crotches him at one point, starts beating him up, and there's people posing. Back in the ring, a series of body slams and the elbow drop. They go to break in picture, and Punk goes for the Pepsi twist, but it's blocked, and MJF hits the Pepsi twist. It's kind of like almost like a short arm rainmaker kind of move. There's then a wrist lock overhead, like wrestling slam and cross bodies. MJF definitely showing his wrestling side here. Punk comes back with his swinging neck breaker that we've seen him do. He then takes him ringside, and I could be wrong, but was it more of the Rancid people here where he lets one of them chop MJF? Back in the ring, Punk hits his version of the Pepsi twist, which looks great. But MJF eventually gets out of this, and it gets out of it like I think he was going for the Anaconda Vice. MJF locks in a sleeper hold after countering a GTS as well. But MJF reveals that he's got some sort of like wrist tape or some sort of weapon. I don't know. Is it something like they used in Hitman, the video game, or Goldeneye or something like?
They called it the garrote. Right?
The garrote. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah. So he used it. Cool. It's a weapon. He wraps it around his throat and starts choking him, but then puts him in a sleeper of his own. So the ref doesn't see, and then takes him down to the mat. And the ref does the 3 count, 3 arm raises, and it's a 1 and it's a 2 and it's a 3. And the ref calls for the bell. MJF has defeated CM Punk via sleeper hold. When he raises MJF's hand, MJF drops the weapon on the floor. The ref sees it. MJF sees it. They look at each other, and the ref decides that this match has to be restarted.
Yeah, dusty finish.
It's a dusty finish. They totally tricked you guys. Everyone was like, "Wait, what? That's how he beats him?" And we were all looking at the clock, like, "Yo, it's only 9:30 now. There's no way this ends like this. No, it can't be." Well, it's restarted. I usually hate that kind of stuff. I hate when it's something and then the next night they do it. At least you're doing it right away, instantly. Like, actually, no, it's restarting.
And this actually, this kind of woke the crowd up more as well. You kind of deflated them with Punk losing, and then they brought it right back up, and the crowd really picked up. Because I felt they, going into this match, kind of felt sort of maybe the same fatigue I was feeling from this show, because I wasn't really enjoying it tonight, and I didn't feel Punk was getting kind of the same reaction he has been, maybe because he's been in Chicago quite a lot recently, but this really elevated it, I think, and it got me way more into the match, and I was like, all right, okay, let's go. Because for a second I was going, okay, this is kind of unique. What are you going to do for the rest of the show here? I thought they did this really well.
The booze when he won here, people were like, "Whoa, this guy just put him out. Like, that's the way we're doing it." And then no, it's restarting, and then the crowd just erupts here. While the match restarts, he goes to hit Punk, but Punk rolls him up, but it's a kick out. Punk is furious and wakes up from the sleeper and starts to do the 10 punch in the corner, but turns it into the 20 punch, and the ref allows it. The crowd is going nuts. They go to picture in picture, and MJF grabs control again and when we come back, goes for his heat-seeking missile, the pile driver, but Punk gets out of it and hits his springboard clothesline for a near fall. MJF starts targeting the hand and arm of Punk and then locks in a tequila sunrise, which looks great, showing his technical skill here. Punk counters that into the STF. I'm not calling it the STFU because it looked a lot better than that, but clearly a nod to Jon there.
Punk loves doing his Cena.
He loves the Cena stuff. Yeah. Punk goes for, I think, the GTS, and it's countered. And then it's MJF who goes for an electric chair drop when CM Punk counters this into a poison Rana.
Yeah.
Best move in wrestling. MJF sells it like just crazy. But CM Punk looks like he lands on his own neck. He stacks himself here, like folds back like an accordion. Just looks crazy. And somehow can't get the pin. So then they both get up and they're going toe for toe again. MJF hits the Made in Japan, or would it, if in his way, would it be called the Made in Long Island?
Made in Long Island.
Yeah, you name it where it's after. Yeah. This is when Punk kicks out of that, and the crowd here in Chicago start to chant deep dish pizza. Deep dish pizza. I wasn't quite sure, and then I was like, okay, it's a Chicago guy versus a New York guy.
Yeah,
okay, I get it. Yeah, I think that's it. The ref doesn't see when both guys get caught in the corner, and there's a low blow from MJF. Then a series of biting and more biting. Punk starts to bite back. They're fighting up on the top turnbuckle, and oh my goodness, I wasn't ready for what happened next, because CM Punk then off the top rope hits MJF with the Pepsi plunge, apparently the first time in 17 years on MJF. To describe what a Pepsi plunge is, it's an avalanche pedigree.
Yeah. Punk's old finish, right? For WWE.
That's right.
I found it so funny, though, JR clearly just stole Excalibur's notes for this bit, because he calls the Pepsi plunge. He's like, I haven't seen that move for 17 years.
Seen that one in a while.
Yeah, JR, you were watching all of Punk's ROH run, were you? Like, you've never seen the Pepsi plunge, Jim.
It looked great. It looked awesome. You know, side story, when I was 16, I went to a WWE show where it was like an access thing where they had superstar signing stuff and all that stuff. And CM Punk was there. And I asked, I was 16, and I'm like, yo, when are you going to bring back the Pepsi plunge? And he signs the autograph. He looks me dead in the face, and he's like, never. I was like, okay, I guess you're never bringing that move back. And here he did tonight. So I popped huge for it. Pepsi plunge from Punk, but he couldn't capitalize. So the match continues. There's a roundhouse kick, an elbow drop off the top, but MJF kicks out. MJF rolls out of the ring, and this is when Wardlow comes down. Punk then stares down Wardlow. They're face to face, and Wardlow just walk off a little bit. MJF is back in the ring. Punk goes in to chase him, but the ref is not quite had his back turned to MJF, who looks like he's putting a ring on. Nails Punk in the head. 1, 2, 3. MJF and his diamond ring strike again because MJF has pinned CM Punk in Chicago as the boos ring in from the crowd, and then MJF does the sit down pose and just soaks it all in as Dynamite goes.
He does the cross-legged punk sit down
the
thing
punk
as well.
Pose. Just awesome. He's better than Punk, and he knows it.
This completely saved the show. I absolutely loved this. I think both are really good storytellers in the ring, and Punk's selling here of his knee was top notch. He both looked like they went through an absolute war. This is Punk's longest match since returning for years. I thought the story of the match was great. I liked the finish. I like how MJF's got one over on him with this ring. It adds to the Wardlow story. Wardlow kind of hopefully buying some favor back from MJF with this, so it kind of plays in with that. And I don't know if you noticed at the end, it looked like MJF thanked Punk. He was, after the pin, he kind of had his arm around him, and you never see MJF break character. So it clearly meant a lot. We've all seen that picture of him as a fan with Punk from years ago, and he's pinned him here in a hell of a match. I loved this.
Yeah, honestly, match of the year candidate for sure. Best match since his return. And we keep saying that every time he kind of wrestles, but by a landslide, I'd say best match since he's returned here. Absolutely loved it. MJF is someone who you hear all the criticism of, oh, well, he's just really good on the mic. His wrestling isn't that good. It's like, how? Because he has not only the ability to do pretty big high spots, which he did not even do in this match, but then he has the ability to do a lot of the storytelling of old school wrestling. Like this was like almost like a love letter to a lot of different eras of some pro wrestling, in my opinion. I kind of got little hints of different things happening throughout it, sprinkled throughout it, and I just thought it was great. MJF continues to prove, like after that match with Darby, the end of last year, it's like, man, okay, this guy can go. But here it was like he had to step up. Punk had to step up, man. Like, what if he couldn't deliver such a big match? I wasn't expecting it to be this good. I loved it. And I think the Dusty finish, the restarting thing made it even more of like a movie, more of like okay, this is an epic now. We got to see him get his win back here. And he still got robbed. And of course it ties in with the Wardlow stuff, but it wasn't like too contrived. MJF's usually like down to the last second is when they do that. So I loved it. Definitely one of the best Dynamite matches ever, I'd say. I know last week the ladder match got a lot of praise as well, but I was soaked into this because CM Punk sold it like he was dead. I think Twitter was losing their mind like, yo, is he okay? Is he dead? And it's like, no, he's just really good at this. He's really good at this.
It really shows, and you hear all these old timers who just like slam kind of your high flyers and your spot monkeys, if you will. And there's a place for that. I love watching those matches, but the ones that do stick with you are these kind of matches where it's selling, it's storytelling, it's psychology, and I think MJF's really, really good at it. I mean, there was some cool stuff in this match, don't get me wrong. You had the Pepsi Plunge, you had that Poison Rana, but it's not like this is a match filled with 450s and double moons and all of this crazy stuff. It's the storytelling, and I think Punk is a master of it, and I think MJF, especially for a guy his age, is so good at it, and it makes his matches so compelling. And I think the fact that we got a proper full match here. This didn't feel like, well, we'll give you a bit now on TV and then you'll get the rematch at Revolution. I can see us taking a break from this for a bit. I think we'll go back to it, but I could see MJF now going, I've got that win. I see it being MJF and Paige at Revolution. And then, and then perhaps have MJF as champion, and that's when Punk wants to get his own back against MJF is possibly for the title. But I think as the heel, I think he's going to get away with being like, no, I beat you. And I think we'll take a little break from this for a bit. And it's going to really grate on Punk for months.
Yeah, honestly, it's Punk's first loss. So it adds so much more to MJF's like repertoire and his promos and everything like that. But yeah, I mean, we suspected a while ago, like, hey, should MJF be the first guy to beat Punk? And they did go with that. They did pull the trigger. And then rightfully so, it does feel like you would go to MJF versus Hangman as your world title thing. And that would be crazy if that would be the main event of Revolution, because some people would be like, oh, it could be too soon for either of these guys. But it's like, nah, it's like that sounds like a pretty big money match as well. But I love this. I love Punk. He's not ever one of my top 5, but this match was awesome. I'd say easily one of his best matches, comparable to the John Cena one. I really love this. It got me in his acting and ability to sell, and same with MJF. There's way more to wrestling than to be able to do some of these moves. There's so much more behind it, and both of these guys have figured out. This felt like a passing of the torch. Honestly, it did. Watching this as a fan, like, yo, MJF, man, you're killing it. And Punk coming back after so long, this was finally the retribution he wanted. Not only did he come back in Chicago, but now you had this classic in Chicago. So I know Chicago gets all these shows, but yeah, they showed up for their boy tonight, and he lost. So the heat was even bigger. But great, the show had its ups and downs. I loved Danielson's promo, and I loved this match. So the bookends of the show were fantastic.
Yeah. I thought it was up until the main. I thought it was a really weak Dynamite, but when you get a main as good as this, you can't. I didn't come away unhappy. Like it was really, really good stuff. I can't wait to see where they go next. MJF's the man for me. I think he's so good.
He's so good. You heard it here first. Well, Revolution's in a little while, but Rampage this week has a few matches. They advertised Isaiah Cassidy, Sammy Guevara, Adam Cole, Evil Uno, Ricky Starks, Jay Lethal, and Mercedes Martinez, Thunder Rosa.
Yeah, so. I'm surprised Martinez versus Rosa wasn't on a Dynamite, because that has been built up, and actually that's one I do want to check out. I kind of no offense to Nyla or Ruby Soho, but there wasn't much of a story there. And I feel you could have had Mercedes and Rosa, like maybe switch those two women's matches around. But I'll be interested. I listened to Thunder Rosa on Renee Paquette's podcast a little bit ago, and this was a match she really, really wanted. And Mercedes is this her first match in AEW? Have we seen her?
I don't watch all Dark, and I don't watch all of Rampage all the time, so I'm not sure.
No, I think this might be her first match. I could be wrong, but I think that should be really good. And the rest of the show, again, it's you kind of see where it's going. I don't see Jay Lethal winning the FTW title. I don't see Evil Uno beating Adam Cole or Isaiah Cassidy beating Sammy Guevara. But yeah, the women's match I'll check out. And for an hour show, they normally go by pretty quickly.
And then next week on Dynamite, the Texas Death Match from Atlantic City. So who's your money on?
Oh, Lance Archer. I think that's why he's
everybody
got Jake
dies.
And Dan Lambert. They need to help him carry that gold. No, it's going to be Hangman, but I'm hoping for a good match.
Yeah, me too. It'll be fun. It'll be violent as well, because Hangman just likes bleeding in his matches. Yeah, it's just what he likes to do, and that's what we like to do. We like to bleed for you listeners, you supporters of the BDE. Thanks for listening to us talk all about Dynamite this week. Had its ups and downs. We'll be back next week, but of course, all here on the free feed and on Twitch every Tuesday night. Up next, covering NXT 2.0, and it was a doozy this week. And BDElite, this show every Wednesday night on Twitch, 10:15 Eastern time, and we talk all about and record this podcast. And then, of course, you want to hear more of us, patreon.com/upnext. All these podcasts, so many shows in the back catalog. You'll be sick of us but it's only $5 to support the squad. Yeah, Davie, anything else? Any last words?
No, I think that's it.
That's it. That's all. Thank you for listening. At UpNext Podcast on Twitter, and you already know. And we appreciate it. And take care. Goodbye. Be safe. And if Danielson and Moxley were to be in a faction, what would you call them?
The Cod Pastors.
The real tough men.
Ahoy!
First time in a long time, but it seems like just yesterday when we were side by side. Beast mode, no one's blocking our way. These other guys tried it, but them man ain't got the skills of Braden and Davie, brazen and raging, bringing you the thrills and spills. Right here in full gear, about to blow up like TNT. Us man are too sweet, Brady, DVP, the BDElite. Right here in full gear, about to blow up like TNT. Us man are too sweet, Brady, DVP, the BDElite.